Welcome to the Atlantic Indie RoundA'Bout here at CIOE 97.5 FM. I'm your host, Maurice O'Coin, and we are streaming live to the world at www.communityradio.ca. We are going to discuss and celebrate independent artists' music from all over the Atlantic region and beyond. Let's all get on the Atlantic Indie RoundA'Bout right now.
Party's ended for the social lights. The bar's been tended, kill the lights. Walking home I saw a meteorite and watched it die in the glow. The sky was lit up like a Christmas tree, but only temporarily, just as love has been eluding me. For something you need to know, that lately I've been missing you. Maybe you're lonesome, and if that's true, let me know. Our candles burning long and bright, 'cause I've been learning love will outlast the rain. If two hearts can fuel a flame. Once upon a time we met that night. The moon was jealous of our light. I got nervous and I meant to take flight, but somehow I couldn't go. You held the fragrance of a fine perfume. I felt my cadence moving you, wet my lips upon your witch's brew, and now I'm longing to show. And if that's true, let me know. Our candles burning long and bright, 'cause I've been learning love will outlast the rains. If two hearts can fuel a flame. And if that's true, let me know. Our candles burning long and bright, 'cause I've been learning love will outlast the rain. If two hearts can fuel the flame. Let me know. Our candles burning long and bright, 'cause I've been learning love will outlast the rains. If two hearts can fuel a flame.
Welcome to the Atlantic Indie RoundA'Bout today, and I'm very pleased to have a very special guest, a dear friend of mine, and a friend to everyone, Mr. Dave Carroll. Wow, have we got a lot to talk about today?
Absolutely, yeah.
Where do we start?
Let's talk about the new record.
That's a great place to start. Let's take a look at that, and that's my signed copy, by the way, folks. I wouldn't receive it any other way. So, how long did this take to produce?
So, Until One Day is the name of the CD, and my last recording was in 2012, Raincoat in Vegas.
It doesn't seem that long, does it?
No, like time just went by. And I've written the odd song, and I would produce it, or I was commissioned to write a song for firefighters called "The Fallen and the Brave." And so it's a song I've been performing at their national event that honors fallen firefighters every year, and that's been around. So I've had a couple songs like that have been orphans. They had no forever home. So I said, okay, I'm going to finish this project. I got to get another CD out. So I wrote a bunch, and I took songs like that had sort of been dangling there and put them on this CD.
So when you say that, add songs, I mean, how many more songs did you have to actually come up with to finish the project? Was it were a good problem already done?
There's 11 songs on here. I probably wrote 7 in the last 2 years, and so in the last 2 years I wrote more than that. But those are the ones.
Yeah, you've been very busy.
Yeah, and the thing I like about this CD, I'm really proud of the CD. So
I'm blown away by it.
It's the first cover shot I've ever shot. That's my son and that's my dog at Lake William, right here in the neighborhood. So it feels really, really good. I got lucky with my camera. I'm not a professional photographer, but I get lucky sometimes, and
you get lucky a lot, I think.
Yeah, well, if you show up, right? I take a lot of photos. I could show you all the photos I took, and you'd see that you get lucky sometimes.
Not just the photography, my friend.
Yeah, but so I'm proud of the way the CD came out, and the 11 songs are by intention meant to bring people together. So I think that the biggest problem right now in the world is the polarity that we're seeing.
Absolutely.
It trumps climate change and everything else, because you can't solve climate change if people are opposed. And I wanted to write a bunch of songs that were non-political, that didn't make people dig in and push away. It made people want to come together.
Even before the pandemic started?
Even before. I've always been doing it, but I thought I've had songs that took a stand on something that I felt strongly about, and I thought, no, not on this record. It's got no place here.
No, but you honestly, Dave, you've always have recorded songs that take a stand or take a pot shot or something, but you've never ever crossed the line in any serious way. I think you've always kept it light enough that I don't think you became a public target or anything like that. I think you've always been very responsible in your songwriting that way, and still get your point across.
I try to be, but I think we're living in such strange times that I didn't want my opinions to be a distraction to the music.
Absolutely.
So this seemed like a good way to go, and I wanted to align everything I do. One of the things I noticed after United Breaks Guitars went bananas, I started speaking, because someone said, do you want to be a speaker? I said, sure. And kind of like you, right? You jump into everything and you develop a skill. Well, I had a chance to speak. I found out that it's a lot like performing, and I really liked it. So I've spoken in 34 countries now. Almost immediately people said, well, I guess you're not a musician anymore because you're a speaker now. And people want to put you in a box, and so I've been kind of fighting that a little bit for the last 10 years,
that would be
saying I'm a songwriter. That's what I am, and I speak and I do other things, and so the messages on this CD align with what I talk about when I'm speaking.
Wonderful.
And that's the plan.
Well, I had the pleasure to do sound for you with that live stream we did for the Waverly Heritage Show, and as an audience member and as a member of the crew, I really got a chance to sit back and listen to you speak about the stories you told to your songs. Weren't stories about the songs, they were the stories of your life.
Yeah.
And you do it so eloquently, and I think that's the charm. I think that's why you have such a devout following. Your songs are very poignant. They're clear and they're concise. They tell a pretty specific story, and I think that's a talent that that not everybody has that gift. Maybe that's why your speaking came naturally to you as well. You have great communicating skills.
I've been working on it, and I've always been an appreciator of storytelling. I've loved great storytellers. I like watching. I like being drawn in. Like if someone's a great storyteller, I'm like rooting for them and says, yes, give me this story, and I'm leaning in, and I want to be like that when I grow up. I want to.
Well, someday you will grow up.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's always a work in progress.
So I would like to discuss a little bit about the song When the World Stops Ending, because I actually did hear you perform that song before the video came out. That's a terrific video. You got some good connections. I mean, to get Neptune Theatre to yourself for an entire day. I'd love to hear about this a little bit.
Yeah, so the whole song, that was the first song that I'd ever done quite this way, virtually and remotely. So Jamie Robinson and I wrote it together remotely. He lives further down in Waverly than me, and it was during the first lockdown, so people were really confused with what's going on, and we all thought it would be over long before now, but at the time it was like, okay, well, it's like the world's ending, everything's ending, so I came up with that idea as a title, and we worked on it over Zoom, wrote the song in basically a session and a half or 2 sessions, and he recorded the band, I think all of it. Maybe I don't even know if the guitar I played made the record, but he recorded at his place. I recorded my vocals. He did a rough mix. Dave Gunning mixed it at his place and mastered it there. And then Jamie and I went to the Neptune Theatre There was nobody there, just the lighting guy, and Steve Richard, who's shot a lot of my video stuff before and album covers. And Steve helped out, and he shot some scenes in the video for B-roll and that sort of thing of it sort of playing to an empty theater.
But it's world class, my friend. It's fantastic.
And I should say too that Josh Parley is a guy in London I met through a speaker named Gary Maxwell, and he's a young guy that's got a lot of talent as a videographer and an editor. So he brought in a lot of what we couldn't supply in real footage. He got really good stock footage, and he edited the thing. So the video looks as good as it does.
It's very
he did a great job.
It's a great job.
When the world stops ending and we catch our breath, will we know ourselves better at all? What will life look like and what will be left? Will we have the same problems to solve? When the world stops ending and we're back on our feet, what will we do with our time? Will we place our importance on the bitter or sweet and leave what is best left behind? From here to Manhattan, I hope that it happens. We love so much better than ever before, and find buried treasure in moments we measure, and help one another without keeping score. When the world stops ending once more. When the world stops ending and we hit restart, what will be first on our list? Will we fill every hour from daylight to dark to make up for all that we missed? Will a new light erase? Will our fear be replaced? When the world stops ending. From here to Manhattan, I hope that it happens. We love so much better than ever before, and find buried treasure in the moments we measure, and help one another without keeping score. When the world stops ending, from here in Manhattan, I hope that it happens. We love so much better than ever before, and find buried treasure in the moments we measure, and help one another without keeping score. When the world stops ending and we catch our breath, will we know ourselves better at all?
We'll be right back with Dave Carroll here at the Atlantic Indie Roundabout with me, your host, Maurice O'Coin. And don't forget, CIOE 97.5 streams online 24/7 at www.communityradio.ca.
Let your heart shine bright let it go crazy. Shine a light where it's dark and shady. Give your love to the world and maybe all of our troubles will melt away. I was floating in the blackness with hate all around me and poison on their tongues that burns the eyes. There's a knowing if I practice, like a shield all around me, that cuts above the noise and whispers in a voice to say, let your heart shine bright, let it go crazy. Shine a light where it's dark and shady. Give your love to the world and maybe all of our troubles will melt away. We heard it through the ages, the wisdom of the sages. The king of dreams was waiting on the day we could love one another like sisters and brothers, and learn how to forgive, 'cause love is all there is to know. Let your heart shine bright, let it go crazy. Shine a light where it's dark and shady. Give your love to the world and maybe all of our troubles will melt away. Oh, yeah. Learn how to forgive, 'cause love is all there is to know. Let your heart shine bright, let it go crazy. Shine a light where it's dark and shady. Give your love to the world and maybe all of our troubles will melt away. Let your heart shine bright, let your heart shine bright. Shine a light, let it go crazy. Don't you know that if you give it all you got and you let it show, everything will be alright. Give your love to the world, give a little love and our troubles will melt away.
You always seem to get top-notch results out of everything you do. You're known for it. As far back as Sons of Maxwell, you played quite a bit in Timmins before you moved down here with the band. That's where you started, obviously, with your brothers, not?
We started actually in Ottawa. We're from Timmins. We went to Carleton University and we entered a talent contest. I started playing guitar when I was 20 at university, and our first shows, we did the odd show very early on, like 1 or 2 shows a year. But yeah.
When did you guys move to Halifax?
In '94.
Because I remember when you were here, you guys hit the scene and you hit the ground running. You were doing quite well, and you've released several albums, quite a few albums actually. Your Christmas album is actually a Sons of Maxwell album, I believe.
Well, so we have 2, and we've been around long enough that we recorded a second Christmas album, right? That's how you know how long you've been in the business.
Many people don't get one, you know.
I got a two Christmas album career. That's how long.
Lenny Gallant finally released a Christmas album. Just released it, so it goes to show you, that's pretty good. And I think when we spoke last time, you were saying that you guys do reunite in Timmins for yearly concerts and stuff up there.
So the pandemic has killed that for the time being.
Well, yes, but it was a routine.
We go to our old high school. That's a 500-seater, and we sell 2 shows out. And my mom is the producer. It's amazing. She goes up weeks ahead and months ahead, sends out promotion packs, and we get the community involved. So it becomes a pretty good community event, with sponsors to fly in a band and a full production, and we do 2 shows in a theater, and it's very professional. It's the most professional shows we've done in our career consistently, and nobody outside of Timmins knows about it, right?
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
It's a well-kept secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fabulous. So without question, the pandemic has affected everybody greatly, and I mean, At some point, life will get back to normal. You've already done several shows. I know you went to New Brunswick for a show.
Yeah, but the Imperial Theatre is where I released the CD.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. How that went.
Yeah, so the pandemic seems to influence everything, and I got a gig for last January at the Imperial because the pandemic had kept everybody from Ontario out or anywhere else. So they didn't have their talent to do their thing. So I ended up getting a gig. But then the COVID lockdown pushed that 3 times. And eventually it was in September. And I was getting close to having the CD out. And I said, okay, well, damn the torpedoes. Let's finish the CD and call that a CD release. And that's where I did it on September 10th.
It was a great theater. I mean, you had your name on the marquee. You once again, serendipity, or whatever it is, you just seem to land on your feet every time.
Yep.
And it's sold out.
It's an 800-seat theater. It was the first show that they'd opened up the doors. They had no expectations, and the week before the show, there were only 50 tickets sold, and then hundreds were there. Right.
So we'll call that a sellout during this.
Yeah. So I was thrilled with it. The people that were there were into it, and that's what Don and I learned right from the very beginning. You play to who's there, not to who doesn't show up.
That's right. Okay. So. Let's talk a little shop on this, because I'm being a musician myself. That's what I like to do. So you had to put the band together. Yeah. Let's do a rundown on the band and how you assembled the team for that.
We had Chrissy and Eddie and Joe Breen, and they're I think together we punch above our weight in the terms of number of guys on stage and the music we make.
Very talented people you're talking with. Yeah. Joe Breen's brilliant.
Yeah, and Joe's there, and Chris is great too. Yeah. It's amazing. Chris adds so much with what he does with the electric. His tone is really good. And
were they involved with the process of making your album at all? Any of those people?
Not Joe on for the record, but Chris mixed, I think, 5 or 6 of his
songs. So he'd be pretty familiar with a lot of that music anyway.
Oh, he knows it intimately, and
so that's great. Yeah.
And Joe plays. If I need a bass player for a few years now, I call Joe. And Joe gets into it.
No, that's a natural combo then. That's great.
And they both sing nice Bee Gees, and
because it's not a show. It's not a touring act. It's not a touring show. Yeah. It's a one-off event that's going to happen hopefully a little more regularly soon.
Yep.
Do you have any plans moving forward to promote the album?
So you helped me get into the digital show space, and thanks to you, I pulled one of those off, and it
was great. We watched it.
It went really well. Yeah. And
great audio. Your audio is spot on. You got your fancy cameras going now.
Yeah.
Like you don't mess around, Dave. I admire you when you do something. Even if you just try something for the first time, you're trying it out, and it just comes off like you just done it 1,000 times.
Yeah, but that first show was pretty interesting. Like learning as you go. I try to do it too, and you've been doing it better than I have in the pandemic for sure. But that digital show, I was pretty nervous about it. But even still, it's such a comfortable thing to be right in your home that I threaded the needle for that show. And I was finishing supper, and I thought, geez, I got to be on in 5 minutes.
That's how it works.
And I brushed my teeth,
Same thing.
Put my shirt on, and walked across to the studio,
and your slippers.
and turned everything on. And it's showtime, and I had to trust that everything was working. It's not like I knew it was going to work.
Especially when it's your first one. But what's her name? She helped you from the other end?
Johanna.
She was wonderful with that, and she made sure that everything was all the things that you were concerned about, she had that all covered for you. I guess that's a nice segue. You must have a team.
Yeah. Small team. So Johanna does a lot for me in Timmins. Johanna Harrison is her name, and she's sort of a catch-all. Anything from website. When the website crashes, she can help with that, or she manages the store, the virtual store, and manages social media for me. So those are kind of the 3 big buckets. But Joanna's there, and my mom Sharon still rocking it out. She's been doing our CD mailing before the internet. Wow. People would write handwritten letters to her mom and say, "We like your sons. Can you mail us a CD?" Put cash in there, and she would follow through and knit them a dishcloth as the packing for the CD. Right.
You need to get a Patreon going.
I know.
Because that's the kind of stuff that sells Patreon. I mean, you can offer like whether it's a postcard. Like I was thinking if you do something like, let's say you, for all your fans in the Patreon, because there's a lot of people a great living online by doing stuff such as Patreon. There's other ones too. I guess what you call it super fan clubs. It's not just about uploading content. It's about showing them appreciation for being there and giving them something, like perhaps maybe make a copy of handwritten lyrics for one of your songs and then sign them and number them and send them off individually to your fans. And it's a whole new way to make a living. And there's a whole lot of people doing it very well. And your mother seems like she could run that show pretty easy.
Yep.
She's on top of it.
Well, what I learned a long time ago, and as a speaker and everything else, is the power of storytelling. And people want to know why you do stuff, not what you do. And so if all you're selling is a song, I've told the story many times, but I got an email from a guy early on with United Breaks Guitars, and he said, "I hate country music." If I had been trying to sell him what I did, I would have lost 99 cents because that was the cost of a tune on iTunes at the time. But he bought why I was doing everything, so he went online and he bought everything I had for sale, and he spent $300. If I had to try to sell him what I was doing, I would have lost $1. He bought why I was doing it, I made $300.
That's right.
And so the story's about
That's very motivational, Dave. It's a personal speaking engagement for us today. That's great. I'll take that tip with me too, by the way.
Sure. So my mom, all those stories, the team I have, and that's what I try to share is why I'm excited about something. You got to show people the value of everything you're doing. So to answer your question about what I might be doing coming up, I have an idea of doing a series of shows, one show for each of the 11 tunes, keep it tight to about 20 minutes, and explain like a songwriter circle. This is what I was thinking when I wrote it, and this is how I approached it. And then go and talk to people that were involved, like Jamie as a producer, or Dave Gunning as a mixer, or Chris as a mixer, and say, what was the standout things for you? What did you like about this mix? And Chris might talk about the one snare hit he spent an hour trying to get to introduce the next chorus. And so that when people hear the song, and then finish that 20-minute show with a full band something. And then I'll call the show From There to Here, and show the full scale 20-minute value, so that it's not just one of 75 million anymore. Now you know the story behind it and things you should listen for.
And each song becomes an episode or a show.
Right, it's an episode. It's 11. And 1 year from now, I will get 1 year's worth of marketing out of the thing, and I'll have 11 pieces of content. Yeah. And
a lot of people are releasing a song at a time, and then accumulate a group of songs, and then produce, like similar to what you did there, and it's becoming the norm. But what you're doing is an extension of that. Now it's a series of shows.
Yeah.
And it's, once again, there it is. You're a genius.
I don't know about that. But I went through the same process, and I thought maybe I'll do a song, too. And why have a CD out? And I chose to do the CD because some people still like to have a physical.
No, and it's actually on the industry level. It's you're regarded differently when you do come up with a full album. But you're holding it in your hand. You did it, my friend.
Yeah.
So are you ready? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I like Serendipity, and there were songs on here that I worked pretty hard on. Was
that one of them?
No. I had 10 songs.
At least you're honest, Dave.
I thought I'm going to go 10 songs, and then I listened to the record. I really liked it. I said, but it doesn't have it needs just a little more energy. So I said, why don't I try? I got 2 weeks before it had to go to the plant, and I wrote it basically in a day, and it came really quick, and I liked how short it was. It's really economical.
Yeah.
I didn't. There's no hidden messages in there. It's just like, let's go.
It's pretty popular already. It's shooting up the charts. I think you're going to get a lot of mileage out of that one.
But isn't it crazy, though? Like, sometimes you don't know, right?
You just don't know.
Are you ready to begin? Are you ready to dig in? Can you feel it in your bones? Can you sense it in your skin? The train has left the station, and it's time to sink or swim. Are you ready? It's time to earn the pennies from those who pay for thoughts. That's the way it rolls. 'Cause yesterday is over, and the road to here was rough, and you're finally in the moment, and you've waited long enough. Are you ready to begin? Are you ready to commence? Come together, get off the fence. Mr. Romeo was nothing without Miss Juliet. The band has started cooking, and the table has been set. Are you ready? It's time to earn the pennies from those who pay for thoughts. That's the way it rolls. 'Cause yesterday is over, and here was rough, and you're finally in the moment, and you've waited long enough. Don't hold back or hide away, it's just a one-night stand. And if you second guess yourself, say no, 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 I'm ready to begin. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Ooh, yeah. Na 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 na.
We'll be right back with the Atlantic Indie Roundabout here on CIOE 97.5 FM. That's a darling track. What would, if you have a sentimental favorite?
The Giant is probably my
Yeah,
my sentiment.
and I got to hear you play that live, and I like to hear the story on that again too.
Yeah, so I've got two boys, and when I became a dad, I decided like one thing I can do for sure is make sure my kids know they're unconditionally loved for the rest of their life by at least two people, their mom and dad.
No matter what they do or what
Right.
happens.
And I think that's powerful stuff. But then I remembered that I started being a dad at 40, so if things happen as they should, I'll be long gone. Well, he still has lots of life left in him. And so it occurred to me that maybe the best gift a parent could give to their kids is to help them love themselves. And that's probably... we probably missed the mark on everything we can be because of ourselves, our view of ourselves. We hold ourselves back and maybe don't appreciate everything we bring to the party. And so that's the idea of the song, that as you grow through life, if you get to that fully actualized, you're living your full life and you're appreciating everything, you probably started not knowing there was a giant in you, and maybe you see a giant in you as a kid, and then you know the giant in you as you really start to come in. But then the beauty is when you realize the giant is you and has been the whole time. And that's probably what I'm shooting for, even myself, but that's what I'm hoping for my kids. And that's what the song's about.
That's prolific.
There's nothing you could do, there's nothing you could say to cause the love I have for you to shrink or fade away. There's nothing about you I would change, but one thing I regret is that you don't recognize the giant I see as of yet. But I'm gonna work on you. Yes, I'm gonna work so hard on you. One day you'll realize the impact that you've made when you look behind and see the giant footprints that remain. And you'll love the one you've always been without being afraid. And I'll know my work is through when you see the giant in you. There's nothing more I want of you, but one thing that I fear is that you may never love the face that looks back in the mirror. And I know that my words are weak, but this is where we start, and they'll take on new meaning when you know them in your heart. 'Cause I'm gonna work on you. Yes, I'm gonna work so hard on you. One behind and see the giant footprints that we made. And you'll love the one you've always been without being afraid. And I'll know my work is through when you know the giant in you. Nothing you could do, there's nothing you could say to cause the love I have for you to shrink or fade away. 'Cause I'm gonna work on you. Yes, I'm gonna work so hard that one day soon you'll know the giant is you.
How does the book tie in with the CD?
Okay, yeah. So I'm really excited about this because it's the first time I've ever done it.
This is your first book you've ever published, is it?
Well, I did one for United Breaks Guitars through Chaos, so that was a cool experience. But
this is a children's book.
A children's illustrated book called Tom.
And the pictures are fabulous. I mean, it's well illustrated.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's glossy and it's like...
feels good. It's got a good weight to it.
It feels really good.
And, I didn't scrimp on the...
No, you didn't.
The artist. And
So you were explaining earlier, you've never actually met the artist face to face?
Yeah, so I've never done this, so I knew I needed some help, and I went with a company called Telwell Publishing, and they are essentially a project manager, and they're out of BC, but they farm it out to, I believe this guy's in the Philippines. The guy that his name's Floyd. He's like Cher. I didn't even know if he had a last name. It's just Floyd. And you don't get to speak with him. There's a very detailed back and forth that goes through an intermediary of what I wanted to see in each picture, and it took
somebody who could explain to him that does this for a living, that can make it very articulate with him.
Well, then it was on me. They had the template and said, explain exactly what you want in this photo, and I had to, with words, explain what I was doing, and he read the story, I assume, and he took the images, and we went back and forth and arrived at the book. But
did any of the pictures have to be redone or anything?
Yep.
Yeah, a couple.
Yep. And or little tweaks and that sort of thing. There's one in here where we wanted to add our dog, so the lead characters are not my kids in this. I've got two boys and it's a girl, but
did you purposely do that?
I did.
To make it a little less obvious? Or
I actually chose a biracial child and said we want to make this as inclusive as possible.
Absolutely.
And I have no trouble explaining to my kids to allow them to see themselves in this, and I've been saying that for years. You can always see yourself in other people if you choose to, and I'm teaching my kids to see themselves in the story.
Good.
Right? And so we're cool with that, but the boys are in the front cover and with the dedication and
absolutely. And well, they're obviously the inspirations behind a lot of your work. I mean,
yeah. Well, this whole book, I was lying down with the boys, putting them to bed, especially my younger one, and just riffing stories off the top of my head, and they're brutally honest. So they would say, "Dad, that story sucked," right? But one day I came up with this thing about a tomato plant named Tom, and I told them the story, and they're like, "Yeah, that's a pretty good story, Dad." And so awesome. So I said, I'm going to finish that, and it turned into this, and now I've got this book.
So you explain how that leads into the album, because the song "The Giant" there's a lot to do with that.
So I had there's serendipity that the things I'm doing seem to repeat themselves. So in the music, I talk about compassion a lot, and I write from that position of compassion, and that's what The Giant was about, and it aligns well with the story Tom the Tomato Plant. So I added it to the back with the lyrics, and there's a QR code, and so the book actually has a theme song called The Giant that's off my record, and if you take the QR code, you go to the record, and you'll get to hear the other songs that maybe are like that, and it's an entry point for one way or the other. Everything will reflect back on everything else.
You're a marketing genius.
We'll see. I'll let you. Give me a few months. I'll tell you how this went.
The results. Things got pushed back, and so now we'll be celebrating this book on the shelves in the spring, and it'll become an Easter gift.
Yep.
You know, and who knows? Maybe the tomato plant is significant of spring. You know, and maybe that's when the books should come out. You know, who knows?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll spin it that way anyway, right?
Another thing that I like about the book, so it always works out in the end, but at the end, Tom goes to sleep at the end of the story, and I leave it to people to decide what sleep means.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
But I've got a neat little idea, I think, that will be meaningful to people. Where I got a bookmark that's branded with the cover and branded with my music. But there's also stuff called seed paper, and it's in the shape of a tomato. So there's tomato seeds in this paper, and it's stuck to the bookmark. So you can take that off, and you can plant your own tomato seeds and watch them grow, just like this family took care of Tom and raised Tom, right? And and again, it's all about getting people active, thinking about a message. The more I've thought about storytelling is that stories don't work with data or information or graphs or charts. It's a feeling, right? If you speak from the heart to the heart of other people, they got to feel it.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of the Atlantic Indie Roundabout right here at CIOE 97.5 FM and streaming to the world at www.communityradio.ca.
With a simple plan, guided by a catchwoman who knows the land, looking down on clouds where the air is thin, aware of where I'm going and where I've been. As the Urubamba River flows below, the mountains are steep, I've miles to go before I sleep. Hey, Machu Picchu, I'm getting close to you, standing high upon the trail the Inca people knew. They say her heart is humble at the sun gate's view, where the breaking day reveals the jewel of Peru. Machu Picchu, that's you. Every step I take is part of letting go, taking in the secrets that I came to know. On a trail conquistadors could not divine, a witness to the riches they would never find. Still the Urubamba River flows below, the condor that soars, I know I've been here before. Machu Picchu, I'm getting close to you, standing high upon the trail the Inca people knew. They say her heart is humble at the sun gate's view, where the breaking day reveals the jewel of Peru. Machu Picchu, that's you. Not a care of yesterday. I wanna live inside this moment underneath the Milky Way. I wanna stand and say good morning, I wanna scream it in the sky. Oh, the world looks so amazing from 4,000 meters high.
even the way you produce your music, the way you sing your music, the way I've mixed you live when I worked with you. It's paramount importance that your vocals are clear and on top. You can't miss a word you say. I mean, you're a fantastic musician, and your compositions are great, but those words can't be missed. You can't miss a single consonant. And you don't hide secret messages. Really, you're very, very good at that, and I think you're special in that regard.
Thank you.
We had a sentimental favorite. There must be a number 2 on there.
Yep. I would probably pick the song "I Had You." It's the song I wrote for my mom, Sharon, and she deserved it. And a lot of people wouldn't write a song about their mom because it's a little corny, or and I call her out by name. The song, it's there's no hidden messages. It's for my mom, right?
Right on.
And I'm thinking at 53, if I can't shine a light on my mom and all the stuff she's done for me and the stuff I've already talked about in this show, then if not now, when, right?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, who's left to sing about? You sung about your kids.
Yeah.
It's
almost like a joke now. Like,
no, but
if you see me coming, there's probably a song.
God Save Doreen.
Yeah.
I mean, you've sung about your grandmother. You've sung about the planet. You know. It's time to sing about mom, I guess. So yeah.
And it's a gift if you're writing songs. In my case, I've written songs about a lot of things that I knew nothing about. Took a shot at it. You've got somebody in your life that's been as important as mothers are to everybody, and mine especially. Why wouldn't you honor them with
Absolutely.
It's the best thing I can do.
How do you thank the one who gave you breath, fed and dressed and cleaned you up when your hair was messed? Someone believes you're worth the sacrifice, long before you walk and talk and for the rest of your life. And I had you, thank you, Mom. It wouldn't matter where I'd go or where I'd come from, 'cause I had you. I could always rise above any problem knowing that I had your love. I've never known a day without my mother's love. Never a day. How do you thank the one who'd pardon your mistakes? The one who showed forgiveness was for goodness sake. The kind of woman who would rather you have fun and send you out with $20 and leave herself with none. And I had you, thank you, Mom. It wouldn't matter where I'd go or where I'd come from, 'cause I had you. I could always rise above any problem knowing that I had your love. I've never known a day without my mother's love. Never a day. How do you thank the one? What can be said? You can't repay your compass or your watershed. So I'll just stand and shout that I'm a lucky one to have you as my mother and to be your son. And I had you, thank you, Mom. It wouldn't matter where I'd go or where I'd come from, 'cause I had you. I could always rise above any problem knowing that I had your love. Oh, I've never known a day
we're not done yet. We'll be right back with more at the Atlantic Indie Roundabout here at CIOE 97.5 FM. And Dave, I've said this so many times to so many people, especially the way you do it as a songwriter, and you write very personal music. It's the most unselfish thing a person can do is be a songwriter and write a song. Because not only are you writing from the heart, you're telling a story, or you could be specifically speaking about somebody, and it can't be unwritten, and it's there for good. It's such an unselfish thing that you can do. And you do it, you do it on a profound level. You have very devout fans. And you probably have fans all over the world from your speaking engagements as well. It's great that you have an international fan base.
It's a unique situation because I can't go on tour and sell out shows all over the world, but I have a small number of fans all over the world. So
that's right.
So social media is a great way to stay connected
Absolutely.
with them because it's the only way.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
When you think about one of your best venues is your shed, and it's a lovely shed. I've been there.
Yeah.
I think it's the new thing. I know a few guys that have them. Keith Mullins built one, and everybody seems to be doing that now. And I guess maybe I don't know if it will be considered a trend, but
everyone should have one. It's almost like a church, right? To have a space that's designed for your creative things, right?
But it inspires you. I was glad to be invited in. I guess moving forward, have you started writing any more music for another album, or have you got that far yet?
Yep. I've been doing songwriting as a service. The tech people have the SaaS model, software as a service. I call it songwriting as a service. And to touch on what we spoke about earlier, I think everyone has a story to tell, and we all sing songs in the bars and stuff of sea captains and things forever that have done noteworthy things, but there are people that have lived a life without those spikes of notoriety, but they're still super important to a lot of people. And I think like my grandmother Doreen,
that's right,
she deserved a song. And
so I guess you'd be considered somewhat of a historian.
It's very much like that, and the process of writing a song for someone you've never met. I'm doing one right now for a 75-year-old woman in Florida as a gift from her son. And I've never met her. I may never meet her. And the process, I need a lot of information. So he's having to go through memories. It's like him looking through photo albums when he's giving me the information. He's enriched by the process of giving me the information to write the song, and he's going to present it to his mom in December.
What a responsible job to have.
It is, and I take it seriously. And
you do.
And it's very rewarding because everyone wants to be remembered. The most meaningful thing you can do to somebody is say these amazing words that sums it up, and they're like, wow, I never know you thought about me that way. And if you had a whole song that took your whole life and said, you changed the world here and here and here and here, and to music.
It's profound.
It's a great gift.
The wheels never stop turning in your head, do they?
No,
they don't.
I like finding the angles and finding meaning.
You're a natural at it. It has been a great visit.
Thanks for having me in. This is a great spot.
Yeah, don't take off your shoes. It's been a pleasure having you today, Dave. All the best.
There's a saying in our firehouse that everyone goes home. And we know the perils in our job every time we hear the tone. And on this day we fought a blaze. We did our job, 4 lives were saved. But in the end I sacrificed my own. I hear bells in the distance, pipers playing a song for me, where flags are folded in our memory. I'm going home to Emmitsburg. They'll call my name in Emmitsburg, where tears are shed and prayers are heard for the fallen and the brave. There is peace above the embers, a lightness in the air, as I float above the members of my station in despair. For through the smoke we face our fears, the lives we saved as souvenirs. I go without regret as I declare. I hear bells going home to Emmitsburg. They'll call my name in Emmitsburg, where tears are shed and prayers are heard for the fallen and the brave. And the families that we leave behind will gather where I'll be enshrined, along with all the others, and they'll see they're not alone. And the names carved in the monument say it loud and confident, we'll never be forgotten, and we've made it safely home. I hear bells in the distance, pipers playing a song for me, where flags are folded in our memory. I'm going home to Emmitsburg. They'll call my name in Emmitsburg, where tears are shed and prayers are heard for the fallen and the brave. And where tears are shed and prayers are heard for the fallen and the brave.
We really hope you enjoyed this evening's episode of the Atlantic Indie Roundabout with our very special guest, Dave Carroll. Now, as a footnote to the story, his book, Tom the Tomato Plant, it's now available. You should check it out. It will be a wonderful family gift. And on that note, we'd like to say, from our village to yours, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.